Down our picks for the top 20 craziest examples of the Mandela effect. For this list, we're looking into the strangest instances of collective false memories, otherwise known as the Mandela effect. And no, this list isn't one itself. We did do a version of this already. We're just adding more entries.
It's time to bring her in, George!
Number 20. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Your childhood might not look the same after this. As we all know good and well, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood always began with its titular host singing its theme song.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
This much is true, but that well-known opening line, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood," not so much. Although it doesn't scan quite as well, it's actually a beautiful day in this neighborhood. But how did we all miss this when we've heard the song so many times in our youth?
It's one hell of a day in my neighborhood. A hell of a day for a neighbor.
It could be worse, we suppose. It's not like he was wearing leather jackets instead of cardigan sweaters this whole time. Number 19. Fruit of the Loom's logo. Fruit of the Loom is a clothing company renowned the world over. Its logo is similarly famous, showing fruit spilling out of a cornucopia. Or at least that's what many of us remember it as being. In fact, the logo doesn't contain a cornucopia at all. Okay, so maybe an old logo has it, right? Nope! Versions of the logo dating back over 100 years lack the cornucopia too. So why do so many people associate a cornucopia with Fruit of the Loom? Even parodies and references to the Fruit of the Loom logo contain cornucopias, but not the genuine article. Number 18. The Monopoly Man's monocle. The board game Monopoly features a memorable mascot named Rich Uncle Pennybags, also known as the Monopoly Man or Mr. Monopoly. He's famous for his suit, top hat, and large mustache. However, people are divided on whether or not he wears a monocle. Reality seems to favor that he doesn't, but our memories of this childhood game can't be false, right?
Ace Ventura, pet detective. And you must be the Monopoly guy.
Heck, even Ace Ventura made the mistake, and he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Could it be as simple as conflating the Monopoly Man with other rich fat cat mascots like Mr. Peanut? Or has someone bought up all our memories? Number 17. Sex in the City. This much-loved HBO show and subsequent movies follow a group of 4 women and their love lives in New York City.
I didn't feel a thing. It was like, hey babe, gotta go, catch you later, and I completely forgot about him after that.
But are you sure that isn't just because he didn't call you?
However, strangely, there is some disagreement on what its title is. Although some would swear up and down it's called Sex in the City, its title is actually Sex and the City. Now, the easy explanation is that people tend to slur the word "and" a lot, so that Sex and the City becomes Sex in the City.
Really?
However, there also seems to be plenty of merch and newspaper headlines bearing the word "in" instead of "and", so what gives? Did reality go out for too many drinks with the girls? Number 16. Lucy has some splainin' to do. I Love Lucy is a classic sitcom and among the most influential TV shows of all time.
It's Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Rick. What's going on here? Why'd you slam the door in their face?
Lucy's husband on the show, Ricky Ricardo, played by real-life husband Desi Arnaz, had a particularly memorable catchphrase. "Lucy, you've got some splainin' to do." Or did he?
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
While Ricky frequently said the word "splain" in various contexts, he never says this exact quote, despite the supposed line being cited all over pop culture.
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
It could just be a summation of Ricky's frustration with Lucy's antics distilled into a catchphrase that never was. Number 15. Oscar Mayer versus Oscar Mayer. An American meat company, Oscar Mayer has remained a fixture of pop culture thanks to its recognizable logo, famous Wienermobile, and several catchy jingles. But its name is a source of some consternation, as a lot of people remember Mayer being spelled with an E instead of an A.
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I truly like to be.
Old news clippings can even be seen spelling it M-E-Y-E-R. So is it just a case of the alternate spelling being more common, leading to misspellings?
My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R.
You'd think with one of its jingles having lyrics literally spelling out the company's name, though, it would be impossible to get it wrong. But there are those who swear the lyrics have changed since they were younger. Number 14. Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. In this seminal Disney animated film, The villainously vain queen famously possesses a magic mirror. To call on it, she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" Except that's not the line in the Disney movie.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
In Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the queen says, "Magic mirror on the wall." This is a strange case because the original fairy tale has her say "mirror, mirror." It's just the Disney version that's different.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, is this not the most perfect kingdom of them all?
This could simply be a case where people are conflating the fairy tale and the Disney film, but even so, it's odd that something as popular and well-known as Snow White wouldn't be better remembered.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Number 13, Curious George's Tale. Curious George is a monkey and the star of many children's books and television series.
Hey, George! Perfect kite flying weather, huh?
Given how long the character's been around, many are surprised to realize that he doesn't have a tail. After all, George is a monkey, and most monkeys have tails. Apes generally don't, by the way, and Curious George is repeatedly referred to as a monkey. Could the common confusion between the two sets of primates be the root of this Mandela effect? Or has reality changed the features of George's posterior? Whatever the case, we are certainly curious to find out. Number 12, Mona Lisa's Smile. The Mona Lisa is arguably the most famous painting in the world and has been discussed and dissected for half a millennium. From the strange phenomenon of her eyes appearing to follow you to her enigmatic smile. However, for some, the latter is especially mysterious, since there are many who claim that she didn't used to be smiling at all. Granted, it might just be that those exposed to the painting at an early age got better at reading her expression. Still, that so many people could be confused about one of the most studied pieces of art ever made seems odd. Number 11, Hello, Clarice. When Dr. Hannibal Lecter greets Agent Clarice Starling from his cell, a lot of us remember him saying, "Hello, Clarice," in that chilling tone. After all, that's the quote that everyone references all over pop culture.
Good evening, Clarice.
Yet, in reality, Dr. Lecter never says this quote in The Silence of the Lambs, even if he approximates it in the sequel.
Is this Clarice? Well, hello, Clarice.
He says good morning to her and even good evening, Clarice, but never that infamous quote. So, are people simply misquoting the film because hello works at all hours of the day? Or is there a more sinister explanation at work? Number 10, Pikachu's tail color. The adorable yellow, red-cheeked Pikachu acts as the mascot to the massive multimedia Pokemon franchise. With its image plastered on practically everything Pokemon, you'd think that its features would be burned into the brains of generations of adults and kids alike. But there are those who are convinced that Pikachu's tail, like its ears, used to have black on the end. Because of this misconception, there are plenty of images available that feature Pikachu with a black tail, so that could be to blame. Or maybe people are remembering something they were into as kids and are surprised when they revisit it as adults. Number 9, Looney Tunes. We're getting to some deep cuts now. Looney Tunes is a franchise of Warner Brothers cartoons dating back to the early days of animation. Its characters are iconic to the medium and are practically as well known as those by rivals like Disney.
What's up, Doc?
But as famous as Looney Tunes is, there are some who believe its name's spelling is no longer the same. Some people remember its name as being Toons, Toons, as in cartoons, while the current spelling appears to be Tunes, Tunes, as in a synonym for music.
Oh, you treacherous trickster.
The fact that its sister series is called Merry Melodies lends some weight to the musical spelling, and the fact that the words are homophones does mean confusion would be easy. Still, stranger things, right? Number 8, Tinkerbell writing the Disney logo.
Walt Disney's Disneyland. When you wish upon a star.
Considering how big Disney is, they sure have a lot of us misremembering their properties. During a lot of Disney animated features, the introduction usually features the Disney logo, with its iconic castle and the name in distinctive loopy handwriting. However, many fans seem to recall the character Tinkerbell from Peter Pan appearing in these intros.
No. No.
Although Tinkerbell has appeared in several variants of this sequence, A lot of us remember her using her wand to write out the word Disney before dotting the I with sparks. Despite many similar versions, none of them quite get it the way it's described.
Yeah, okay, I'll push the thing.
Chalk this one up to magic? Number 7. Play it again, Sam. As one of the titans of cinema, Casablanca has a host of memorable lines from
He's looking at you, kid.
to
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
Yet one of its most quoted is never actually spoken in the movie. The line, "Play it again, Sam," a directive to the piano player to play as time goes by, is often associated with Humphrey Bogart's character Rick, yet he never says the words.
Play it. Yes, boss.
A few lines come close, but the exact phrase is not in the movie. It could be that in the pre-home video days, people just misremember the line. But still, you'd think a film buff like Woody Allen would know it, and he named a movie after a misquote. Number 6. Beam me up, Scotty. This line is as synonymous with Star Trek as live long and prosper. It's just a little weird that no one in the show or films ever actually says it.
Scotty, beam me up.
Most often attributed to Captain Kirk, this exact phrase is not spoken by anyone in the franchise. Although, in fairness, similar wordings like "the voyage home, Scotty, beam me up" were used from time to time.
Well, beam me up, Slappy.
That's Scotty, sir.
Geek test.
Busted.
But why does this misattribution have the omnipresence of Q? Do people just like the sound of it? Did someone tamper with our timeline? Or did a transporter accident send some of us into a mirror universe? Number 5. Nelson Mandela's death. This is the memory that gives the Mandela effect its name. South African President Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before being released in 1990. Or was he? A great number of people seem to remember Mandela dying in prison, and reading about this fact in textbooks or seeing it on the news. Even Mandela's actual death in 2013 from a respiratory infection did little to quell the uneasy feeling in people's minds that something about the world or their minds had been altered. Number 4. Life is like a box of chocolates. While sitting on a park bench and offering candy to strangers, Forrest Gump famously says that his mama always felt, quote, life was like a box of chocolates. It's an iconic phrase, but one we're likely all guilty of misremembering.
Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
In fact, his mama, and thus our simple hero, said that, quote, life is a box of chocolates. It's perfectly plausible that people have merely altered the quote to be more general, and thus give it more currency, but it's still strange that we all get the most memorable line in the movie wrong.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Mama doesn't say the quote like that in flashbacks. Number 3. Luke, I am your father. The immortal line is more mortal than you think.
He told me you killed him. No. I am your father.
Everyone who's ever heard of Star Wars knows this quote. Yet in the actual film, Darth Vader says to Luke, "No, I am your father." Countless pop culture references and legions of dedicated Star Wars fans still manage to somehow get this quote wrong.
You killed my father.
No, Buzz. I am your father.
So what's the deal? Have we all just misquoted it because Luke provides more context? Or have some of us come to this reality from far, far away?
Luke, I am your father.
This isn't the only Star Wars example of the Mandela effect either. Just check out C-3PO's leg sometime. Number 2. Starring Sinbad, Shazam. Quick question. Who starred in the 90s movie about a genie?
I am Kazam!
Some of us correctly recall it being NBA star Shaquille O'Neal, who had a sporadic movie career throughout the 90s. However, others believe the star of the film in question was the comedian and actor Sinbad, who starred in a number of children's films during that same time period.
Racism! That's what Jesse Jackson was talking about!
Others also believe this non-existent film starring Sinbad was called Shazam rather than Kazam, which they claim is something else entirely. Are people conflating multiple movies in their minds? If only we had a genie to magically solve this mystery. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Berenstein Bears. You know that series of slightly saccharine children's books about a family of bears and the cartoons based off them? What were they called? The Berenstein Bears are remembered by many as part of their childhoods. However, they aren't the Berenstein Bears at all. They're the Berenstain Bears.
The Berenstain Bears. The Berenstain Bears.
The easy explanation is that names that end in Steen are far more common than those that end in Stain. And a lot of us were exposed to the stories as kids and misread or misheard the titles multiple times. Yeah. While some of us can shake it off, for others, this is a stain on reality. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.